Coronavirus, of course, has become a funny issue of global discussion. Some have started, questioning the response of Ghana to the pandemic, the response of Nigeria to the pandemic, and some think African governments are not responding fast enough. So today we ask, do African governments put enough premium on the lives of their citizens, both at home and abroad? And we couldn't have had a better person to help us with this discussion, but Van, the former president of the National Association of Nigerian Students, Ghana, Mr. President Kayode Abubakar. Your Excellency, good to have you.
My pleasure once again.
You are an international citizen, Your Excellency.
Thank you.
You are in one country today.
And the other tomorrow. Yeah.
All for the good of Africa and humanity. Yeah. How have you been, Mr. President?
Been very good. My pleasure.
And there are a lot of Nigerians trying to cross the Sahara Desert and then the Mediterranean Sea to go to Europe to seek greener pastures. There are Ghanaians who do that. Even in times of war in Libya, African countries were blamed for their slow response in evacuating their nationals. How important is the Nigerian life, or the Ghanaian life, so to speak, the ordinary life? Sometimes they say the ordinary citizens.
Yeah.
How important are our lives to our governments in Africa?
It's a serious concern. That is a critical question, indeed. I would say Africa. If you put Africa, it covers us all, because the response of our government generally has always been the same. I will call it lukewarm, compared to, how a European country must have, responded to this kind of epidemic. Now, when the issue came up, with regards to the coronavirus in China, of course, a lot of people came out to say this is, warfare, whatever, and even from so-called intelligent community, we're talking a lot of stuff about it, But with regards to the response of our countries, I think I am really, really concerned. I'm scared. You were mentioning Mediterranean. What about even the West Coast? I've traveled the West Coast now for at least twice in the last 2 months. And a few days ago, I came all through Nigeria, through the West Coast, the Lagos-Abidjan corridor. And even the response, the preparedness to handle the emergency in case of, the epidemic coming into West Africa is really terrible. Coming through from Lagos, from Nigeria's side to Benin Republic, and then coming to Ghana. Okay, let me use let me use Aflao for instance. When we got to Aflao, I was expecting that everybody coming from outside Ghana into Ghana should be scanned, probably with should be examined. Maybe I should put it that way, in case of any symptoms of coronavirus. But to be surprised, even though there are some medical officers right there in Aflao, welcoming some people who are in the marked buses, whereas people were coming in and out without being examined, without being, even foreigners, white folks. So who knows where those people are coming from? Who knows? Maybe they've traveled through the airports, connecting flights, traveling by road through Lomé, Cotonou, Lagos to Accra. So you see, may this thing never enters our shores. The level, the response of our governments can be, lackadaisical. The approach is lackadaisical, I must say. And I'll really be scared if we have any sort of things to enter our shores.
President, we've seen videos of much more serious countries around the world with medical officers in full gear, waiting on the tarmac and spraying chemicals on people.
I watched it.
You didn't see that?
I watched that. And compared that to what we've seen on ground here is serious. I'm just praying that we don't have anything like that in Africa. Because the level one, our response in the first place to the epidemic was lukewarm, talk less of preparedness in case of emergency. In fact, unfortunately, some politicians will not see this situation as an opportunity to embezzle money. In Nigeria, as I'm talking to you now, contract has already been awarded to the tune of almost 700 million naira for corona, for emergency response at the airport, which the minister went there to. But to me, all those things are bogus. We've seen foreign countries gone there, sent planes there to evacuate citizens. We've seen videos of Nigerians, even Ghanaian students in China, and Nigerians as well, sending videos, in secret locations saying they are being neglected, nothing, food shortages at home, they cannot come out, all sort of things like that. The response has been terrible. And the preparedness in case of emergency has not been up to the expected level too.
Mr. President, both Nigerians and Ghanaians are very religious people.
Yeah.
We see the coming of coronavirus as destiny or fate. So we are just throwing our hands up in frustration, saying that whatever God wills, thy will be done. So let it happen.
Personally, I would disagree with that, even though, of course, we are very religious people, as you said, and a lot of religious undertone to a lot of things we do. But this one, I would totally disagree with that, because we had an epidemic some time ago, the Ebola virus, and that time, thank God for the government of Lagos State. The federal government failed at the moment, at that point in time. But Lagos State government, under the leadership of the former governor, who is now a minister, Raji Fashola, had a super response team to Ebola. If the first country in Africa to be able to contain the Ebola virus was Nigeria, through Lagos, which is the entry point into the country at that point in time.
I mean, when people come from Guinea, go through Lagos.
Every year, Lagos is the major entry point to Nigeria.
There were reported cases in Lagos.
Yes.
He was able to tackle.
He was able to contain it. They contained it successfully, even though some heroes, who we now regarded as heroes, somebody like Dr. Stella Adadevoh is now been given an award. The doctor who actually discovered the Liberian who entered into the country through flight and had the disease and wanted to escape. The first contact, a female doctor died as a result of that. Dr. Stella Adadevoh, and she was given a national award posthumously for doing that, because had it not been that heroic act of Dr. Adadevoh, that disease would have really, because the Liberian person on that flight would have taken the whole thing into the country. But through that act, we were able to contain the matter. And so if we have left that to faith or to religion, I mean, that would be a national catastrophe.
Mr. President, did we overhype HIV/AIDS? Because historically, since the 80s, we've seen AIDS as the deadliest thing to ever visit us on the continent. But you mentioned Ebola, now Corona, something. What is next? And how is our medical response, so to speak, when you have hospitals with, maternity wards, babies born on the floor, women in labor and lying on the floor? I don't know how terrible the situation is in Nigeria.
Same thing.
Ambulances being dispatched and there's fanfare when this is a basic thing.
It's quite unfortunate.
What is your own, impression about the way we look at these issues?
It's quite terrible, and sometimes we used to think that maybe as Africans, that are we cursed as a people because of this kind of, it's about humanity here. When you talk of disease, HIV and stuff like that, and it's been endemic in Africa, not only HIV, even malaria. People die of malaria more than HIV. People die of ordinary cholera because of lack of access to basic water supply. Go to northern Nigeria. Go to the Niger Delta of Nigeria, where you have oil spill as a result of exploration and of oil. Go to some areas, even look at what's happening in Ghana as a result of galamsey. People lack access to basic water. It's a right, fundamental right, as a citizen. Unfortunately, after being denied of that right, you are also exposed to lead exposure, as a result of the exploration of all these natural resources that God has given to bless us. Unfortunately, it's rather turning the other way around. So, as a people, our government has failed us in many ways than one, and as citizens as well, because you see, I'm of the opinion, or I believe in the school of thought, that governance or government or leadership generally is not a one-way affair. It's two-way. There can be no leadership without followership. And I think the president mentioned something in his inaugural speech that triggers something in me when he talked about that you are citizens and not a spectator. We shouldn't be spectators. We should be active citizens, responsible citizens. I want to tell you that, for instance, the way we are fighting galamsey in Ghana, Nigeria is also fighting illegal oil bunkering in Nigeria. I can relate to the same situation. Now, there can never be galamsey. There can never be legal bunkering or illegal exploration of oil without connivance of the locals. It is not possible. I can tell you that without any research whatsoever. Nobody can come into your domain and illegally continue to explore your land without conspiring or connivance or cooperation, one way or the other, of people on the ground. And that is what I think people should take the words of the president, that don't be spectator, don't just sit down and be looking, because your water have been polluted, the source of your water have been polluted, the source of your livelihood, your land, has been taken away from you. That is life itself has been taken away from you. So which means if we can be responsible, even as a citizen, the leadership, the effect it will rub on the leadership as well, and we can see the benefit on our day-to-day, life generally.
So as citizens, both in Nigeria and Ghana, are we accepting mediocrity as the way to go in terms of governance? Like, why should you inaugurate ambulances? This is a basic, mandate of government.
Yes, it is.
So are we accepting what is mediocre as a standard?
We celebrate mediocrity in Africa. What happened in Ghana with the celebration of ambulance, not only in Ghana, even in Nigeria. You hear somebody providing a borehole and cutting scissors. I mean, what do you call it?
It's a ribbon.
A ribbon, cutting on the borehole, which is a fundamental right of the citizen. I'm telling you. For somebody, cutting salt on the inaugurating borehole, of which you as a citizen have the right to basic water supply through pump into your houses. But this one you have to even go and draw from the well, and they are celebrating it. In fact, hailing that say Madagascar, you are the leader. The leader has arrived. So the level of mediocrity, we celebrate mediocrity in Africa. It's not a Ghana thing, it's an African problem. And the earlier we got to deal with this, the better. And the youth, especially, who are supposed to be the future, of the continent, of our countries, should wake up and put these people on their feet and let them know that we know our rights. We will not take no for an answer. We will not be second-class citizens in our own country. We demand. We want to be part of our future. We want that future. We want to be part of the decisions that has to do with our future. We cannot allow these our grandfathers to sit down, decide our future for us, and we don't have any input. How are we going to feature in that kind of future at all, in any way?
Mr. President, you said the leadership is cost and all other things are effect.
Yeah.
But you mentioned it in a different way.
Yeah.
The leaders will present something to the table. We, the citizens, should demand more. How has Rwanda been able to do it? I don't think Kagame and his cabinet would just decide. And this is a war-torn population just coming out of the ashes of war.
How
has
genocide.
the Rwandan, model worked in terms of tagging along the citizens?
Good. In fact, in terms of this is a discussion that is being done even at the master's level in the university. The issue of democracy, the issue of Rwanda, it got to do even with the political system practiced in the country. Now, we all talk of, I remember during my, one of our lecturers from Cape Coast, University of Cape Coast, who took us African Studies. We did a certain paper then. I've forgotten his name now. He's a doctor. And we presented a paper about that we should suggest the kind of government political system we should be doing in Africa. And I remember I wrote a paper out that it singled me out of the class, that I should defend what I just said. I said, we as a people, as Africans, we must create our own political system, taking into cognizance the history, the culture, the cultural heritage of our people into cognizance before we decide the kind of political system we're going to use. Why did I say that? I said that because we talk about democracy. Democracy, of course, the West will tell you that British is democracy. But whereas the Queen decides for them, and you say it's democratic. Meanwhile, our kings here are not accepted to decide for us. Our monarchs have been relegated here. They are not part of governance. In the Middle East, it's monarchical. America, they have their own system of democracy which they want to, put on everybody. They condemn the communism practiced in China and Russia. So Rwanda has been quite successful because they have been able to, create their own system, whereby for the Rwandan people, whereby they have the definition of what Rwanda should be for them, and they're executing it under the leadership of Paul Kagame, of which the West they're condemning the system is practicing, saying it is undemocratic, For me,
But it's yielding results.
that is what I'm saying. To me, I don't care about that. As long as the people of Rwanda, they are being respected, the dignity of the Rwandan people are being respected, they have basic amenities, their life expectancy is high, and they are getting good results.
So
what are we talking about?
The leader is good enough. Don't change him.
Don't change him. I mean, of course, to the West, they think he's despotic, but to me, he's doing well for his people. He's a great man. If Buhari decides that, if we think that...
would you accept an amendment to the constitution so Buhari does
for the kind of
third term?
For a country like Nigeria, it's going to be terrible. I mean, it will result to war. To war. You know, sometimes the size of the country also matter. You know, for a country like Rwanda is now up to one state or two states in Nigeria in terms of population. But a country like Nigeria, you know, to me, what we champion is to practice a deep sense of federalism, you know, federal state, you know, Federal Republic of Nigeria. And if we practice federalism in the right sense, I believe that every federation unit in the country will have a sense of belonging.
Gubernatorial system in Nigeria, Mr. President, governors can run for more than 2 terms? Or
no, 2 times. 2 times. They're limited
so
by
the
constitution.
laws are the same as the state laws?
For the executives, yes. For the executives, yes.
And Mr. President, that is quite deep. And in closing, Mr. President, can you pump some sense into us as Africans that we need to ask for more? And where Africans are in distress, anywhere around the world, politicians should expeditiously go to their rescue. And then coronavirus in sharp perspective.
Yeah, I'm going to say this before I enter into that. I think one thing that we've had problem with is our level of education as a people. And that's what the political class has denied Africans, to educate our people. You know, if we're educated, we'll know that we should not celebrate them. I mean, it is our right to demand for. And when we appreciate them like they are doing us a favor, no. That is the primary responsibility of government, to protect the lives of the citizens. Unfortunately now, even when they steal from us to give us a token, we appreciate them and hail them for doing well for the people, instead of letting them know that we put you on the right foot to do what you need to do. You have to do. You were voted to do. So with regards to the responsibility of of our political leaders, we need to ask for more. We need to put them in the right position, because sometimes the citizens put them in a tight corner. For instance, why would citizens be demanding project execution from a legislator? They do that in Ghana, they do that in Nigeria as well. The legislator is your representative to go and represent your constituency at the parliament. Now, they are not to execute. They are to speak for you. Why they make demands of the executive to give the project, but now the people are now demanding project from the legislator. So they too, in order to let you know that they are doing well, they will go and collect money and come and do it for you and then silence you. So we are selling our rights to that regard. But I believe by continuous education of our people, reorientation, that we think the youth should do the more, we will be able to get back to normal and, you know, progress further as a people.
Mr. President, Kayode Abubakar, immediate past for some few
like,
years.
Yeah, emeritus now, like
yes,
3-4 years ago.
Yes, National Association of Nigerian Students, Ghana chapter. Always a breath of fresh air to listen to. We hope to have you again.
It's my pleasure, my brother. Thank you.
Do take care.
My pleasure.
And then see you soon.
Thank you.